unilateral ways and approaches and their thoughts about this current situation, and that gave rise to many conflicts like the Ukrainian ones, and became the root causes of many conflicts in the late 20th to the early 21st century. Now no one is safe as a result of that. We should come back to the origins and correct the mistakes made, but the indivisibility of security today, unlike in late 80s and early 90s, is a much more complex phenomenon. It's not only about the military and political balance and the consideration of each other's interests. Our security, the security of humankind, depends on our capability to respond to challenges that stem from man-made and natural disasters, technological development, new rapid social demographic information developments. All those things are interrelated, happening on their own in an unpredictable way, having their own intrinsic logic and laws, and sometimes not in coordination with the will and expectations of people. The humanity risks to be left behind in this situation as a side observer, not being capable of ruling the situation or managing the situation. This is a systemic challenge for all of us, and definitely this is an opportunity for all of us to work together. There are no off-the-shelf answers, but I believe that to resolve global challenges, we need first to approach them without this ideological predetermination, without didactic tone. In this spirit, I'll explain how it is done to you.
Secondly, it is important to understand that this common, indivisible affair that requires joint work of all the countries and nations, each culture and civilization should make their own contribution, because allow me to reiterate, on our own, nobody knows the right answer. It can be fostered only in the process of joint constructive search, by uniting and not dividing our efforts and national experiences of different states. Allow me to repeat myself. Conflicts and clashes of interest have existed and continue to exist, and they will exist. The issue is how we solve the multipolar world, as I've already mentioned, is the return to classic diplomacy, where the key to resolution is through mutual understanding, mutual respect, and not coercion. Classic diplomacy was able to take into account the viewpoints of different entities of international life, this complexity of concerts of multiple powers. But in due time, it was replaced through Western diplomacy of monologue, of endless lessons and demands. And instead of resolving conflicts, they started pushing forward their own narrow interests, considering any other interest unworthy of attention. Should we be surprised that instead of resolving conflicts, they've provoked further escalation of these conflicts, and they're passing to the bloody armed phase, turning into humanitarian catastrophe? By acting like this, we cannot solve a single problem. And over 30 years, there have been endless examples of that. One of them is the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, that through the script of Western unilateral diplomacy, fully overlooking history, tradition, identity, the culture of people living there, they can't solve. Just as they can't stabilize the situation in the Middle East, which in turn continues to degrade. And we're taking a closer look at the initiatives of President Trump, but I believe there could be light at the end of the tunnel. Horrible example is the Ukrainian tragedy. It's pain for both Ukrainians and Russians, for all of us. The reasons for the Ukrainian conflict are well known to anyone who has gone far enough to look at the back history of its current, most critical stage. And I will not repeat myself. I'm sure that everyone here is well aware and understands my position on the issue. I have voiced it many, many times, but we also know something else. Those who encouraged, goaded, and armed Ukraine, stirring it up against Russia, for decades fostered rampant nationalism and neo-Nazism, simply couldn't care less, not only for Russian interests, but for Ukrainian interests, either for true interests of the people of that country. They have no remorse for that people. It's nothing but expendable material for